Hello and welcome to Launerin's Gamerscore and welcome to Final Fantasy VII The Remake demo. That's right, Square have released a demo of the game this week, so we're going to take a look. We're going to keep things on normal mode, but we have three different modes to choose from: classic, easy and normal. The classic and easy kind of simplify the combat so that you can focus on the game itself, but I decided to go for the normal. So as far as I'm aware, this is a slightly shortened version of the full intro that they're going to have with the game, but this is basically the same as the Final Fantasy VII intro now. So this new intro really does give a real kind of sense of scale of Midgar, of how much they've added to it and how much they've made it bigger. So, obviously with this shot coming out across the top of Midgar, in the original we were basically at the Shimra building by now, but it just gives it a little bit more scale and a bit more and a bit more, and then of course it gets to the Shimra building itself, and then that's a bit more and a bit more and a bit more. And you can just about make out between the plates around Midgar, you can just about see the slums below, the lights of the slums. But from the sounds of things, there's a lot more exploration involved, and you will be able to explore the plates in the city of Midgar a lot more than you were able to in the original game. Now, I really like this introduction because it stays fairly true to the original. So badass. I think that they've managed to get Biggs, Wedge and Jesse spot on, really.
Get down here, murder.
They really do match their personalities, as you'll find out a little bit later as we get into this demo a little bit more. So there we go, this is where you basically take over control and you can run around a little bit. So I had a little bit of an explore, found out what the attack button was. There we go, so apparently can't talk to Barret.
Who goes there?
You're up.
See, I've never understood this. He just runs past them. How do they not, like, attack him as well? So basically, with the attack mode, you basically swing your sword yourself.
I think so.
As you kind of progress in the game, though, I did find that you can't just button mash. I also found out that this guard on the floor here, despite them trying to stay as true as they could to the original, does not appear to be holding a potion that you can pick up from him, which is a little bit of a shame. But yeah, as the demo progressed, I found it more and more difficult to kind of button mash my way through encounters. So you really do need to have to keep your eye on your ATB bar,
Have fun.
which will allow you to use various abilities and spells and things like that. As this tutorial is now talking about. So basically, as you attack with Cloud, as you attack with the normal attacks, your ATB gauge goes up, and then you can start using various different commands. There we go. So you go into tactical mode, everything kind of slows down, and you get to use a special ability. A special ability which now includes Braver rather than having it as a separate kind of limit break. So just here, I don't know whether because obviously this is pre-recorded, so I had a little look through the menu system to see if I could have a look at the materia system and how that would work, but obviously we've not been shown the materia system yet, so we don't really have that much access to it, but we do have now learnt about some of the shortcuts. But yeah, there is some little Easter eggs that point towards Crisis Core and Zack and Cloud's relationship in that previous room. For those of you who don't know who Zack is, it's not that much of a spoiler without going into the full relationship, but I'm not actually going to talk about that in this specific video, because this is talking about the remake that we've waited X amount of years for instead. So as for like the voice acting, I'm not 100% sold on Cloud's voice at the moment, but I think they've done really well with the voicing of Barret and the voicing of Biggs, Wedge and Jesse. A new introduction to this is finding items in chests. Obviously you had chests in the original game, but not in this particular part of them. So I do have a little bit of an explore at this point and kind of have a look around and see what's happening. So there we go. So in areas like this you can smash boxes and they'll have like Mako shards and things in them.
So what's Soldier Boy's deal? Is he one of us now? He's got balls, this, what was his name again?
Cloud Strife.
Right.
And he isn't a soldier anymore. Still, he's a professional, unlike the rest of us.
I don't know, Biggs kind of reminds me of Charlie Sheen a little bit there.
This is a one-time
with
gig.
his voice
When it's
and
done, we're done.
and the way he looks, to be honest.
Real joy to work with, though.
You'll keep us
Real
safe.
joy to look at, too.
Right, Cloud?
Well, it sounds like Jesse's got a little bit of a
Guess I'm not on the same page as
Jesse's got a little bit of a soft spot for Cloud by the sounds of things.
Or even the same.
Give it a rest.
Come on, nobody do something this crazy just for money. They may not think you're a true believer, but you know what I think?
Not interested.
What?
Yeah, the more I hear Cloud's voice, the more I'm coming round to it, but everybody else has got their voices spot on, I think, there.
You better be worth the money, Merc. Every last gil.
Yeah. And there it is, the iconic scene. Cloud looking up at the reactor. Oh, that when I first saw that, it sent shivers down my spine. There we go. And now we're learning a little bit more about locking onto targets. So yeah, this particular combat, I was finding it really difficult to do damage to the dog, and I think it was at this point where I realised that you need to really focus on making sure that you're pulling off your abilities as much as you can, to make sure that you really get your keep up with your enemies, as it were. So as you progress, I'm guessing like things will get, the whole combat system will get a little bit more complex. You'll have to remember weaknesses of different enemies and things. Luckily there's not that much of that in the demo, and I did find the combat system a little bit clumsy to begin with, and hopefully I will get used to it in time.
This way.
Because towards the end I was really enjoying the combat and the different way that it worked.
Think you can stop me?
Like I say, when I was playing it, I did find the combat system a little bit clumsy, so much so that I went into this combat completely forgetting that there's a kind of ATB gauge that has to fill up. So in this particular one, I think I just tried to go flat out with just normal attacks for a while, and then realised that I probably need to use some abilities to bring these guys down.
Not bad.
So I do like that it kind of comes up at the sides what's needed, and I do like the commands menu and the way that that works as well. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed playing this demo through, and I can't wait to get my hands on the full game and really get into it.
Let's go.
So this bit saw us going into the actual reactor. So this is like iconic. The 3-bridge moment was really there, and then you have
Soldiers may attack
the
on
bit with the
command,
doors.
but I hear they make good guard dogs too. Bet you've seen a few reactors. So how do we get to the bridge above Mako storage? Ain't holding out on me, are you? Stamp scared to bite the hand that fed him? Or is he a loyal little doggy? Have it your way, Mutt. We can do this with you, or we can do this without you.
Different
Barret
reactor, different layout.
seems so
Depends when it
much
was
more
built.
aggressive
Never seen one like
at the
this,
moment,
but
at
I'll manage.
least, than in the original one.
In 3, 2. Damn, I'm good.
Who's there? Door! We'll wait! It's over!
That's my line.
So there we go. So this is learning more again about Punisher mode and Operator mode, which are, well, they're two different modes that you can attack in, doing light or heavy attacks, essentially. What I found as well is that if you're a little bit further away than an enemy, to an enemy that you're locked onto, Cloud will kind of do a series of either flips or whatever to make it a little bit more ranged, so that you get back into the combat as soon as possible.
It's a good thing I know someone who can get us the passcodes. Pity no one else at command will talk to us, but what can you do? And we're good.
So that I found a bit weird, because that's a little bit more in depth than it was originally. So apparently they've got a man on the inside, essentially. But as far as I can remember, in the original,
So
they
you know
didn't.
Tifa, right? It's not really my business, but are you guys close?
Tifa and I.
So I've heard as well that there may have been a little bit of footage there that's been removed in this particular demo. I'm not sure whether it's going to be put back in for the full game or whether they've removed it because they found unnecessary. So I'm not going to say what it was or what it included. So now we meet Heidegger and President Shinra, who have been basically watching
These
this
sewer rats
little...
appear to call themselves Avalanche, sir.
who have been watching
We
these
are
guys
currently
move through their
investigating
reactor.
whether they belong to the same group that made the attempt on your life.
And apparently
Rest
an
assured,
attempt has been
our
made on
inquiries will
President
not take
Shinra's
much
life.
longer.
Now that I don't remember from the original game either, or at
This
least I
pulp's
don't
sole
remember
purpose is to
Avalanche
drain the
being
planet dry.
involved
While
in
you
it.
sleep, while you eat, while you
So-
shit, it's here sucking up Mako. It doesn't rest,
Oh yeah,
and
sorry.
it doesn't care.
There's some swearing
You do
in this video.
realize what Mako is, don't you? Mako is the lifeblood of our world. The planet bleeds green like you and
Jesse's
me
just
bleed
like,
red.
look, he just gets a bit
The hell
worked
you
up
think's
about
gonna
these
happen when
things.
it's all gone, huh? Answer me! You gonna stand there and pretend you can't hear the planet crying out in pain? I know you can!
You really hear that?
Damn straight I do!
Get help.
Say that again!
I'd worry less about the planet and more about the next 5 seconds. Save the screaming for later.
So here we go. This is the part where we find out about
Our lives are on the line now. You listening, Merc? One false move. And that happens.
Well,
So now-
so much for having Cloud do all the fighting.
Barret comes
There are
into
some
the
places
fray.
a sword just can't reach.
Yeah, thanks for stating the obvious, Jesse.
Just bear with him for me, would you?
Yeah.
So there we go.
Should have asked for more money.
You can already see Barrett's materia slots in his weapon are filled with materia, which begs the question that when you get to 7th Heaven, Tifa's Bar, you're supposed to give a tutorial on how to use materia to Barret, but Barret apparently already knows how to use it because he's got some equipped already.
Gonna
So,
throw your sword at him? Let the man with the gun go to work. These tin cans ain't got nothing.
So I'm wondering how they're gonna do that. Yeah, this I found took a little bit longer than I think it probably should.
Now for the real show.
So you do with the triangle ability, like with Cloud, it changes from Punisher mode to Operator mode. His triangle ability basically does a barrage of high power shots, and then while it's charging, if you press it, it kind of does it, gives it a little bit more of a charge. And there we go, you can swap back over to Cloud as well. So there's some combat in this that does remind me a lot of the combat systems in like Devil May Cry and games like that as well. So I'm just wondering if they did kind of borrow some of the system from that. So this...
What we have here.
A laser security system. Great.
Those things will hurt more than your pride if you're careless. They'll cut you down to size and then some. But I'm guessing you've done this kind of thing before.
Yeah. Figure out the timing of the lasers. Then make a move when they cycle off.
Exactly.
So I kind of fumbled this bit a little bit, as you're about to see, but it does mean we get... Alright Jesse, stop with your flirting. You do get kind of a little bit more than just running about. You will have interaction with the environment as well. So there we go, that's the first one to see what actually happens when you run into them, and then...
Not too shabby.
So you're supposed to break those boxes and things, but I think it just takes a little bit long. So basically this is the bit where you're running down the flights of stairs towards the reactor, and they've added this in so that there's a little bit more to it. So every time the lasers went out, I thought that they were basically out and not coming back on.
You're doing good, soldier.
But it does also mean that Barret kind of gets stuck in them from every now and again, because he doesn't follow you that closely and he doesn't have his own interaction with those lasers.
And look. They don't call those things sweepers for nothing. They can wipe out a whole squad in seconds.
Not if you wipe it forward then first.
So I think we were supposed to use kind of stealth at this point.
We can take this on the jump.
And not just kind of...
It's a heavy weapons platform. If we rushed in...
If we rush in, we die. So I rushed in.
That should give us an opening. No escape.
All right, watch and learn. Hey, it's not moving.
Let's pin it down. Give it all you've got.
So yeah, we
Of course, it just had to get back up.
just started throwing magic at it as much as I could. But I was also very wary, because obviously I've played this game through to completion in like its original form, so I know what's coming up in a minute, and I didn't want to use all of my MP.
Now's our chance. Go.
Don't need to tell me.
So I was just a little bit worried that I was not going to be able to do the next part if I just kept using magic. So I was trying not to use magic at the same time as knowing that I had to. But I managed to get past this little sweeper thing.
Soldier first class. Doesn't go into the 20s.
What the hell are you talking about? I mean your age, not your goddamn rank. Though for all I know, a soldier's rank could be the same as his age. Guess that makes you a 1-year-old, huh? Live and learn.
Yeah, whatever, Barret. Yeah, shut up. So here we go. This is now kind of the main reactor building, the main reactor part. So that's where we need to get to.
The reactor core. Gotta set the bomb at the bottom. Let's get down.
So it's at this point that it was got a bit different to the original game. Granted,
Damn, I can practically taste tobacco in here.
there is ladders and things in the original game, but there was never this massive kind of climbing down through the reactor bit. So I've just picked up a Moogle medal, which is one of the collectibles that is within the game. I presume at some point they'll get explained a little bit more, but they're not really spoken about in this demo. But I do know a lot of people that do enjoy collectibles and things like that within games. I for one do like to try and get 100% completion, so I will probably be looking out for them myself. Okay, we're going to leave the rest in our capable hands, are you, Jesse?
Aw, you're choosing me over the reactor? That's sweet, but I'll wait my turn. Go blow her mind.
So yeah, there does appear to be some rather large platform areas down here around the reactor core. But first we have to deal with some of these monodrives. Which I'm still not 100% sure what they are. I think they're mechanical, like they're little just kind of...
Deal with that.
Yeah, I'll do it. See ya. Hey, did you see me in action?
Must have missed it.
Yeah, I think they're just kind of little kind of biomechanical sentry kind of things.
We sink right down to the bottom, to the planet's core.
No. So yeah, the monodroids are quite easy to chop your way through. So it was just nice to kind of hack my way through those. And I did also manage to spot the
And don't come back.
the chest in the corner here. Bottle of ether. Now we climb down a little bit more towards the reactor core. So
Let's do this.
with this, there's a little bit more story here than I originally remember from the original game. So there we go. We've now having a look at the map screen as well. We need to just go and set the charge. Just go and set it. That's literally all you need to do, Cloud. There is no other way out. There is no other way in. What could possibly go wrong in this situation where
All right, let's see if little Stamp really can bite the hand that feeds. Go on, do the honors. Prove to me
looks
you're
like
the
a-
man Tifa says you are. That
terrifying
you're one of
bomb.
us.
Never said I was. I'm just here for the paycheck.
Then do the damn job.
kind of seems like with that Barret is kind of playing with him. It's just like, I know you used to work for these people, you used to be in Soldier, can you betray them? Can you? And just keeps pushing him like
I'm fine.
he thinks he's not
What
going to
about
do
the
it.
timer?
Your call, Merc.
So you have a choice of setting the timer for 20 or 30 minutes.
Pretty cocky, ain't you?
With the original game, I think you can only set it at 10 minutes.
You double-crossing!
And you're always, I find it out within at least 5. So I just went for the 20-minute mark just to see if it was possible. And then, of course, you've got the Scorpion Sentinel come down.
Reinforced armor plating, but the internals can be overloaded.
So
Lightning magic.
I really struggled with this because I was trying to kind of use my magic as much as I could, and also do attacks, and I found well, that didn't help as well, that I wasn't even aiming at him when I did one of my charged up attacks. But I think I do need to go through and kind of listen to the tutorial a bit more to learn what everything does, and maybe have a look in the menus a little bit more as well. Because I spent a lot of this combat as Barret and didn't spend a lot as Cloud, and I kept forgetting that I could tell Cloud to do other things as well rather than just do spells as Barret. Like Cloud's ACB gauge is pretty much full at this point, so he could have just been knocking out fire spells while I was knocking out the thunder every now and again, but I just kept forgetting to switch over to him. There we go, so now he's run off over there.
Never seen this defense system before.
Thought you were the expert.
So what's your brilliant plan, genius?
It's my time to shine.
Or go down in flames.
Here we go.
So yeah, so now you've got the barrier come up. I noticed now that there's 2 different things that you can aim at. I didn't realise who I needed to be to aim at them, and I really did start to struggle a little bit with this fight, and I felt like it could have been over a lot quicker. I've not actually watched anybody else play this demo yet. I don't know whether everybody else took as long as I did to actually fight the Scorpion, or whether it was just me that struggled with it. But even with all of those struggles kind of under my belt, as it were, and I did really enjoy this fight because it was just an entirely new dynamic to fighting this Scorpion, which has haunted my dreams for many years before now.
You think I care about a few cuts and bruises? Cause I don't. I got this.
Don't overdo it. All right. There! Attack it from the rear.
Aye, soldier boy. Show me what you got.
So there we go, he's now jumped up out the way and is now on the wall. So this is the point where you fire even more spells at him.
Gotta heal up.
So it was at this point where I was having a little bit of trouble with Cloud because he fell unconscious, and then I had to revive him with the Tuft of Phoenix down, And then I ran out of ATB gauge with Barret, so I couldn't heal Cloud anymore. There we go. So the ATB gauge was then full. So then I pop a cure spell off onto Cloud.
Enough with all the barriers. I'm counting on you.
There we go. So then I was back in as Cloud, and then I was struggling again because he ran up there.
Heal up and regroup. Time to burn. Keep it together.
Need my help, do you? Hell yeah, baby!
Now's our chance. Give it everything you've got.
Give it everything I've got, is it? Okay, lots of spells. See, the other thing is I kind of completely forgot at this point about other abilities. I forgot that Cloud probably could have done a Braver and various other abilities on it. I can't even remember if we managed to see... I think we managed to see Barret's limit break in this playthrough of the demo, but I don't think I managed to get Cloud's actual limit break off.
Need to do something about these wounds.
So there we go. Now we move on to the next stage of this particular fight, where for some reason the Scorpion Sentinel just starts destroying the entire reactor.
Watch the tail. You don't want to be hit by that laser.
Huh? So, what do we do?
Don't get hit. Take cover behind that debris.
Don't get hit, so don't attack when the tail is up, or whatever it was that Cloud used to say, or attack when the tail's up, even though you were supposed to attack when the tail wasn't up. So during this demo as well, I also kind of completely forgot that there was a blocking system in place and a shield system, and that you can roll out of the way of attacks. Which is why when I'm kind of controlling people, I am just mashing square and not really doing
Need to do something about these wounds.
anything other than just normal attacks and magic and just not shielding and just losing health every 2 seconds.
Deal with that.
It's alright, Barret. He's going for Cloud.
Before it fires again.
Yeah. I think this is nearly got Barret's limit break charged as well.
Heal up and regroup. We need a light. Incoming. Take cover.
There's really no other option?
Want to get shot? Be my guest. It's on you.
Need my help, do you?
Strike now, before it fires again.
Okay. So yeah, and then one of the other things about this game is like the little hints that Cloud keeps dropping, like strike now, don't attack now. I kind of like those hints within the game, because it kind of helps you adjust your battle style to each enemy.
Oh, hell! What's it doing now?
An auto repair unit. Damn it.
But
Take it out before it's screwed.
it does get a little bit annoying after a little while. And there's Cloud down again.
my jam. I'm gonna blow this bastard the hell up. And that's a problem.
So I'm not sure at this point whether I was supposed to keep attacking the sentinel or whether I was supposed to focus on the legs. But my health was very low.
Well, I'm in serious shit.
And I wasn't sure which to go for.
No time to waste. Let's take it out quick.
So I just ended up taking out the legs as quick as I could. There we go, so the limit break's now charged on Barret, but not Cloud.
Gotta heal up when I have to. Not looking good. Sorry.
There we go, so that's Cloud down again.
Hey, you really gonna make me deal with this on my own?
There we go. So it looks like even if a member of your party is incapacitated at the end of a battle, they still get experience because Cloud leveled up at the end of that. Whereas ordinarily he wouldn't.
Shit, the bomb!
20 minutes until detonation.
There we go, so the bomb has now been activated. With 20 minutes on
hear
the
that?
timer.
Damn thing showed you how it's done.
Come on, we've got to move.
Wedge should be covering our way out. Go, go, go!
So at this point, well, when the battle had finished, I got Cloud back with me, and it was only a 1%, so I popped a couple of potions off, as you just saw. And then it's just a case of climbing up to back to where we were earlier, cutting our way through some of these mono drives. But wait, I hear you cry. When you returned, when you were on your way back from blowing up the reactor in the original game, you had to rescue Jessie because she had got her leg trapped in some debris. And there you have it. So I got a little bit confused at this point because I wasn't sure which way I was actually supposed to be going. Because it looks like there's somewhere on the right you can drop out down to quite easily. But I was also thinking, do you have to go all the way to the left? And then eventually I got all the way to the left. And it turns out you had to kind of go that way, which looked like it was further away.
Hey, we'll link up over there. Look after Jesse.
So there we go. So now you get an entirely different route back through the reactor, with Jessie with you as well.
Probably.
I do love that you can see the materia in the materia slots as well. I think that is a really nice touch. I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the other weapons and how the materia slot fits into them. But yeah, this demo was a lot of fun, and I think I will play it through again, especially looking at the different modes to find out.
It keeps me focused. I'll freak out if I don't talk.
It's alright, Jessie, you're just being the tutorial, that's all you're trying to do. You're just helping us. So there we go. So we've managed to get back to where Barret was, and now we've got some more enemies.
I've got you covered. Find us a way out of here.
But then...
Don't worry, I'll be fine. I've got Soldier Boy with me.
Ex-Soldier Boy.
Yeah, ex-Soldier Boy.
We don't have time for this shit. The clock's ticking.
Cool it. 5 seconds.
So it seems like whenever you get basically somebody new join your party, you'll have instant access to all of them. You might not have them follow you around the whole time. Or it might just be a case of they have to be nearby in order for you to use them. So like later on in the game, if Barret is over doing something else, he might not be able to take part in a certain combat, and it might just be Cloud having to deal with it on his own, even though Barret is within like arm's length or whatever. So this was a kind of highly new experience, kind of escaping from the reactor with a timer that to me made a little bit more sense, and made me feel like there was actually a point to it, because with the original one I always felt like you never needed that much time to get out, but obviously with me playing this for the first time, I didn't know that I might have needed the full half an hour to get out. I didn't know that going to these crates might have slowed me down a little bit, although I did notice that when you do open the chests or do any sort of interactions, it does, as you'll see now when I open this chest, it does stop the timer, so it's quite nice in that respect that it doesn't kind of just keep hitting down. But I think it was at this point where I was kind of thinking, well, I don't actually know how long it's going to take me to get back to the top. And I'm 5 minutes through my time. Is this going to be another 10-15 minutes to get through the rest of this? Have I put the wrong time on the timer? And I genuinely felt some sense of urgency trying to get out of here, but it didn't stop me from wanting to have a look around at everything. And it also made me cack myself a little bit when I came across these shock troopers, because it seemed like they just didn't want to be hit by Cloud, and they just weren't dying at all. I completely forgot that magic works on them. But I did wonder how they were going to model those particular enemies from out of the original game. But it is nice to see that they've kept kind of the original enemy concepts, rather than changed everything that happens kind of in the game, so that all of the enemies now match the storyline or whatever, whereas enemies in the previous one might have been just a bit weird and you couldn't really explain them. But I bet there's probably some lore somewhere telling you what those monodrives are that you'll be able to find, and you'll probably be able to read kind of like a manifest of what shock troopers are compared to normal troopers, and there probably will be an in-depth thing into each enemy.
Okay.
There we go, they just dodged through all of my attacks, and I can't get my ATB gauge up because I can't attack them. But yeah, it's... This particular battle was really frustrating until I managed to get that fire spell off. And then I felt a little bit better about myself then.
It's on you.
Need my help, do you? Cool. See ya! Hey, did you see me in action?
Must have missed it.
So at the end of battles and things, it does automatically switch back to Cloud as well. There we go, in the elevator. And this is the point where I realised that the time you needed wasn't specifically 20 minutes. So yeah, the bomb really doesn't do much in the remake. But then this happens, which I really don't understand. So President Shinra basically turns on the defences of the reactor on itself to make the explosion that Avalanche caused go from not doing any damage whatsoever and just be easily repairable to basically a full reactor meltdown.
Come on, come on, come on, come on!
And then the coolest reaction ever from Cloud: I'm having a nap. There is no point stressing, because if the elevator breaks now, we die. If it doesn't, we'll be there in a minute. But yeah, so I don't understand the Shinra reaction where they basically blow up their own reactor. I presume we'll get a little bit more in-depth kind of story about that when we get to the full game. But as far as I can work out, it's basically like they want to make...
Can you walk?
Come on, Jesse, come on. They want to make Avalanche look
You'd be the first to know.
a lot worse than they
that as a yes.
actually are, and make them out to be an even worse terrorist group so that they can do all these bad things. See, you can do this.
Okay, that was pretty cool. All right, come on.
See, because now the reactor's done that, it's going to have made Avalanche, who Shinra will report did it, but it'll make Avalanche look like they're like real proper terrorists, and they're not like this little cell of kind of natural like of people trying to save the planet. They're just evil. So then this is kind of a montage of what happens after the demo, because this is the end of the demo now. So you get kind of a little bit of an insight as to what's coming up, and I am so excited. We've only got, what, a month left now. Next month the full game comes out. I've been saying for a long time that I'll be featuring it on the channel, but I don't think I will be putting it on straight away, because I want to play and enjoy it as much as I can. But I've shared the demo with you, and unless it's really different, I probably won't share the game straight away. Unless there's a lot more stuff in it that I think's worth sharing. But that was the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please do like, share and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.